Hello and welcome to another edition of Oxwide, where today's programme has a special focus on learning disability. Now, just a few days ago, our ALD Directorate held a brand new conference titled Nursing Support for People with Learning Disability. People came from far and wide to the illustrious setting of the Old Naval College in Greenwich, and we took our cameras along to cover the day. Let's see how it went.
It's really nice to have a face-to-face, seeing everyone in one big venue. And what a fantastic opportunity to network, to share ideas. And it's been ages. We've all, since COVID, been clicking on screens and, generally doing everything virtually. So opportunities for particularly learning disability nurses to get together face-to-face. Lots of us from different regions up and down the country, around London, etc., to share ideas.
Mark was really interested in the future of learning disability nurses, and he came up with the idea of us as community learning disability teams and also inpatient services for Oxleys, sharing our work but also learning from others.
A key reason to have the conference really is so our nurses get to be celebrated. They celebrate their work, so they get an opportunity to basically, some of them haven't presented before at a conference of this size. We booked this out for 130 odd people. Lots of interest up and down the country. So for nurses, some of them newly qualified, some of them newly with the trust, to stand in a venue like this and get the opportunity to speak to colleagues about their passion, I think is invaluable really. That's what we're trying to do.
So, Lloyd, what are we doing here today?
Well, Steve, we are trying to get all the learning disability nurses to help us plan services.
Yeah?
For people with a learning disability.
I think today's gone really well. It's a credit to the organisers. It's fantastic to bring so many nurses together from within the organisation, outside of the organisation. But what I found really inspiring is people's enthusiasm to learn from each other.
Out here we've got, the sun is shining, we're by the river, we've got a lovely lawn outside, people can grab their lunch, sit and network and chat. That was ultimately what I was after as well, just a good, enjoyable opportunity to talk about what you love doing it well, celebrating what you do, and networking, sharing ideas, learning from each other really, and making contacts, key contacts, because we're better together, I guess.
So far today, I've heard so much amazing practice, innovative ideas. I've heard patients' voices telling me how amazing the walk and talks are. I've learned a lot about epilepsy and parts of the brain, which was amazing, and also helped to support some people with questions they have around learning disabilities and autism, and maybe commissioning questions that they could ask their commissioners.
It's been lovely to have a nurse-led conference and thinking about striking the balance between physical healthcare, which obviously is important, and mental health and autism. So all of these issues are important, but quite often autism and mental health can overshadow the physical health aspects. So it's really nice to have a nice balance of both the physical health, mental health, and thinking about that as an entirety. So a holistic look for people with learning disabilities.
So we started the day involving people with a learning disability as keynote speakers. Thought it was particularly important as it's about nursing support for people with a learning disability.
It's work of Bexley Research Net, Liam and Stephen. They talked about the work of Bexley Research Net. Then they also spoke about some of the projects. So we've done several projects working with the local police about staying safe on buses. The fire brigade, they were talking to us and teaching us about how to stay safe at home and to avoid a fire. And then we were doing some teaching with them how to communicate with people with learning disabilities.
Lots of teams are set up quite different. I think what's reassuring is that we all have the same goal, and our goal is to improve the health outcomes and reduce health inequalities for people with learning disabilities. And I think what's great about these events is that we're all doing things that we can each learn from. So rather than us all going away and trying to reinvent the wheel, we might be doing something in North London that South London aren't, and vice versa. And this is a great opportunity to share those practices.
I think the foundations are there. I think the networks have been made, the relationships are starting to be built, and there is a genuine commitment and drive to want to improve things at a system and a national level. And I think raising the profile, particularly working with primary care, making sure that we have equity of access and provision of services is going to help.
So reasonable adjustments for people with a learning disability and autism are significantly important. It prevents diagnostic overshadowing, and we've seen significant improvements across the country with reasonable adjustments. I'm really pleased with the amount of progress that Oxley's and everywhere else is making with reasonable adjustments, because it's making a huge difference to the lives of people with learning disabilities and autism.
People are living longer with more complex health needs, and as always, as learning disability nurses, we're adaptable. So we're trying to help everybody else, but also we're adapting to manage a much more complex group of people. We are doing the best profession in the world. I absolutely love it. I think it's amazing. I think what we do is amazing. And places and conferences like this empower us, rejuvenate us, but also hopefully inspire our next generation of nurses to come through to choose learning disability nursing.
I think we should give Mark Bradley a big shout out, because he's organised all of this.
Yeah. Well, a big shout to Mark Bradley.
Well done, Mark.
Well, yeah, and thank you to all the learning disability nurses today for attending.
That looked like a lovely day in Greenwich, and the term reasonable adjustments was certainly a hot topic. And that's something that's also applicable to people in our prisons who have a neurodiversity. This short film looks at how we're working together to ensure that neurodiverse service users in our prisons are given the care and attention they need.
Neurodiversity is an umbrella term that describes conditions such as ADHD, autism, and learning disability. All these are lifelong conditions that have started right from time before adulthood.
Someone's journey in prison can be really impacted just purely by the fact they've got a neurodiversity, and that is everything from being in the police station, from travelling to the prison, coming through to reception, understanding what's expected of them, why they are there, being able to understand the prison regime, what's going to happen to them next. And equally, there's a lot of people that are vulnerable in a prison setting purely because they have neurodiversity.
We work in like a discrete unit, and we work alongside some of the more challenging prisoners. They may be there because their behaviour doesn't allow them to be in a normal house block, or they may have received an award of some sort, like cellular confinement.
A lot of the people that I work with, they might be vulnerable to exploitation. They find the environment very distressing, and prison officers have maybe a lack of awareness about neurodiversity and how best to work with people like that.
I have seen how useful it is to have a neurodiverse team within these restricted environment, especially in reducing challenging behaviours and self-harm.
So what we've tried to do is build this working team where we can talk about specific people, their needs, how best to manage behaviours, how best to communicate with specific needs and the different types. We've tried to like upskill staff so that they're more aware, because there's still a huge stigma around it.
You've got those with learning difficulties, which would also come under the umbrella of neurodiverse, like dyslexia, for example. They may not need a high level of intervention, but would be registered as having a learning disability, where in fact it's a learning difficulty. Now we've got those with a diagnosis or suspected diagnosis of autism and also Asperger's and ADHD. These individuals need additional support.
Say for instance, if you had autism and you found routine is something that you needed to stick to, and then you're being thrust into this environment where the routine is told and this is how you have to act and behave, that would to anybody that would seem a little bit like, what am I doing? I can't cope with this.
Reasonable adjustment. It's very easy to say, but in the prison environment, it's sort of difficult to implement. So the little that we could do it goes a long way.
When we do these upskilling and teaching sessions, I think it opens up a lot of people's minds, not just, external agencies, but also like officers, and they're the ones that work day to day with these people.
Reasonable adjustments could come in terms of having headsets to reduce the noise. Also, due to social difficulties, we could have them for medication time be first or last at a quieter period in time.
We can get done what we need to get done, as well as also treating someone with respect and humanely, which is what we'll kind of want, isn't it?
And finally, for over 10 years now, our Greenwich-based LD service users have been part of a special group, meeting once a week away from clinical settings and enjoying taking part in many activities which have transformed their relationships with others, including staff. They initially met at the Tramshed in Woolwich, and after 1 or 2 temporary moves are back to where it all started. Back in late July, a special celebration was held for the 10th anniversary, and we went along to find out more.
I think for a lot of people with learning disabilities, loneliness and isolation can be a big challenge in their lives. And Tramshed is a place for friendship and connection, people being engaged in a whole range of activities. It also gives kind of vocational opportunities, so we have volunteers who can develop their work skills through supporting the project as well.
But the most important thing was that people wanted to do the things that they wanted with the people they wanted to be with, and they didn't want to just be restricted to staying in the building, and they also wanted to go out at night in the evenings, and that was quite difficult then for day services to do.
I was kind of figuring out where Tramshed was. I was going through some documents and I realized, it's Tramshed's 10th anniversary this year. Actually, this needs to be a big party.
I think it's been a very moving day just to see so many people connecting. There's been people attending who are regulars every couple of weeks, and then other people who I haven't seen for years. So I think people have been attracted back by kind of it being a special event. And I think it represents what we're most proud of as a community learning disability team, but also I think the values of Tramshed around difference and diversity, this being a place that really belongs to the community and has a particular ability to support people who may be marginalised on the basis of a whole different range of different things, including having learning disabilities, where people often feel left out of what's going on in society.
One of the things we always thought was important was getting the balance right between people having a secure base, a place that they wanted to go to, that they felt comfortable being in with other people, but also giving people the confidence to reach out, go to places in the community that they wouldn't otherwise go to, and start to develop relationships outside.
The more that the activities have grown, the more that the people have come, the more photos we're taking and documenting the good time. The staff really started to see what a fantastic initiative Tramshed Fridays is.
So I think Tramshed is a place where kind of people form friendships. Sometimes people who've had many experiences of rejection in their life. So I remember a client who was coming to Tramshed when I was first supporting the group, who'd had kind of multiple placements broken down, been rejected from her family at times, and remember her coming to Tramshed and making a really good friend here.
It fulfills all sorts of different things for different people, and some people come routinely to some events because those are the things they want to do. Others come regardless, just to be with the people they want to be.
The better you get to know people and the more different sides to their personality and who they are you get to know, the more you can support them. And I think at Tramshed we really see people engaged in a whole range of ways and showing abilities we might not see in a clinic setting.
It's really nice to be able to have a non-professional relationship, a relationship that is based on friendship, on doing things together that people enjoy, and particularly a great part of that is being able to step back and enable the volunteers to take a lead role.
I come a volunteer in Tramshed. I helped everybody with cups of tea and coffee and drinks and putting tables away and getting them out.
You know, there's that moment you see when somebody says, "Can I help out with something?" That you just see them kind of taking that initiative and getting that bit of confidence that they're helping out, setting up the tables or hanging up the decorations or telling somebody when their cue is next for the next karaoke song. It's giving that bit of empowerment back to them, you know? Yeah, it's really important.
It's a place which encourages creativity, it encourages playfulness and connection, and I think it enables staff to have a place where they can really kind of show different sides of their personality in a slightly more relaxed, authentic way than is sometimes possible, so that at the end of a Tramshed session it always feels like you're one big group of people who've all got something to offer and can all connect in a spirit of kind of friendship and solidarity.
The service users have so much to offer. There's so much going on there for them, and they've got so much enthusiasm as well. I mean, it's just about making the doors a bit easier to open for them, you know.
I'd encourage other teams within Oxleys and beyond to build up these types of partnerships, because I think it makes a huge difference to the quality of service users' lives.
That's all for today's programme. I hope you enjoyed the films we brought you from our Learning Disability Directorate. We want to continue to put the spotlight on all of our directorates in future Oxwides. So if you're keen to have your team involved, please do let us know. We'll see you again soon.